So in this one, we are going to be doing a top 10 list. Surprisingly, I didn't even expect to do one before the new buffs, the new LF, the new Ultra, whatever comes out within next month here, because if you don't know, GT campaign is meant to go all the way to like the first end of week of February, something like that. They put the date in like the bottom right corner when that campaign starts. This is still technically Legends Fest, just G4. They did say the campaign does, begin with the next buffs coming as most likely again the next LF next week. But G4 has made some impact for me. I do think he is top 10. Spoilers, you see him right there. There is a couple extra units just to kind of put out, but I'll go over those details after we go over number 10. But just to say, again, G4 is a very good unit. If you do not think he is very good, I recommend you try him more. I think it's very hard to dispute this character as something that's subpar when this character is just doing everything he is doing. Let me actually pull skills on the side here so I don't misplace a character, just in case. You never know. Got some silliness there. And I have it right now. Okay, let's get into it. So, with my top 10 here, beginning at number 10, we do have LF17. Now, LF17 is going to barely make it. That means the units that aren't making it, that are below him, are not 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, whatever the numbers go up to. No, but I do think LF17 makes it to where these others do not because of XYZ in the meta. Let's say it's Rev UI doesn't make it, or Piccolo, or Jiren. I think they don't make it because of, well, here's Jiren, there's the Yellow Omen, you gotta deal with that shit. But if you do feel like these other units that are gonna be in the very good units but don't make the cut area, I don't debate you with that. Again, Rev UI, Orange Piccolo, Jiren, these are kind of the candidates you're looking at. 8 Vegeta, everyone else would probably think like makes this list, right? But these are candidates you're looking at. Again, if you were to say those units make it over number 10 here, I would say just number 10. I wouldn't debate you. I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I would say actually Orange Piccolo is the best debate for that of everybody that is not making it on this list here. That is, well, not in the top 10. But LF17 still has value. I mean, G4 did drop, so that's another green this dude's had to deal with. So I had him, I'd probably believe, like 7, 8 prior to, this situation of another green unit. But now another green, the Jiren kind of situation where it's like Omen exists. Now Jiren gets screwed over on his best team. It sucks. I'm going to use Jiren next video to see what he can do right now in the current meta, because actually I'm running into a lot more greens than even Omen, so maybe he can kind of gain value. But for now, I do feel Jiren does not have that situation where he's always with LF17. Sometimes you see 17, Evo Kaioken, Omen. It's like, that team's too squishy. It's one of the worst defensive teams that can be run because there is no defense. I mean, LF17 is like your whole defense at that point. Omen spawning green cards and green carding and healing is like your defense. Like that's not defense. That's just living and barely living at that. So LF17 just has to go down. And yes, this was list, by the way, will be a tad different. Not really much difference in my opinion, but a tad different than the others, because as you can see when I scroll up here, there is a big gap area, and I'll explain that. I didn't really have that in the last one, but with this new unit dropping, basically G4 is a basic new unit because his initial kit to where his kit is now, there's a lot of different things going on. Things have changed, and I do not think 1, 2, 3 are comparable to 4 through 10 or 4 through everything else in the entire game. So there's that. 17 though, number 10, barely making the list. Honestly, I could argue Jiren, Orange Piccolo, Rev UI above him, but like, I think he could barely touch the list. It's very tough for him. Now, number 9, this one's actually a little bit of a low. It's true, but like, it's a low. Like, this just kind of happened, huh? Yeah, number 9 is Ultra Janemba. I mean, listen, we got Pikkon Gogeta, we got Orange Piccolo. I see that red-red-green setup pretty often. I know red-red-green, yes. Janemba is kind of driving there, but still Piccolo very common as well. Goku Bardock very common. G4 I've run into quite a bit. Evo Kaioken run into quite a bit, so there's 4 greens. Rev UI you could argue as well, so that's 5 greens to deal with. That's a lot. How does Janemba do it? He doesn't even get type neutral, so someone's dead, and then on his best team, I would assume it's like Beast, Janemba, Pikkon Gogeta. Well, it's not going to be Gohan. It's not going to be Pikkon Gogeta, probably. Maybe by accident you might sack them off. But Pikkon Gogeta is also very free because they're a green unit, so you would probably sack off Janemba first, actually, which is a whoa situation for Legends here. They killed this character pretty quickly. I mean, G4 releasing just kind of is another nail in the coffin at that point, because in situation of another range-based blue card, G4, if he lands his first blue card, it won't kill Janemba 100-0. It'll do like 80%, but then on that second blue card, catch them on some bullshit, maybe catch them on a PV strike. You already did that first blue card, that next strike, okay, man's dead. Like, Janemba is no threat to these greens, and then these reds have protectors with greens. So like UVB gains value because G4, okay, now he's more protected from these 2 blues. These are only 2 blue units that are like full on blue, Goku Bardock being an exception. They're full on blue that UVB had to worry about, right? And now both of them, it's like they're at this low placement because so many greens are so viable with it. Pikkon, Gogeta, G4, so UVB is like in a green-red setup. He's free, he's vibing, his value goes way up. Unfortunately, I haven't seen many UVBs. I do think he'll get more value soon in usage rate, but yeah, he definitely goes up in value. That's just an example of what these blue units are having happen to them. We're getting a lot of situations of greens, and we're not getting many purples. No purple has dropped at all. I do assume the next Ultra, if it is Forku, I would think a blue or purple thing, if it's going to be a blue. So for Goku Ultra, that's just, again, my assumption for the end of the month here. It would be a, buff to Omen, right? Defense type blue Forku. Or it could be a purple that's more meant for GT, since they don't really get new purples that are ideal. The last one being GT17, which was, a year plus ago at this point. So, unless that unit's a purple, these blues are just going to stay down. Janemba, I don't even know if he gained value from Ultra Forku, because it's like a double Ultra at that point. L17 probably, because, he's a LF, he doesn't have the leader slot everywhere to get his full abilities. But until that's the case, these blue units are down in the dumps. It just makes sense. We have 5 greens that could be argued as meta. And with that, yeah, the blue units just have to go down. There's no purples protecting them. How can they thrive? They can't. I mean, even if you were to say Jiren was top 10, Jiren's not protecting Janemba. UGB, I don't think I argue top 10, but like if you were to say it, he's still not protecting Janemba. Like, it's still a situation where you don't really have much wall off standing for these blues to kind of just thrive in their own right. Number 8 is actually going to be Mr. Ape Vegeta. I do think people are starting to come around to the idea that this unit actually is pretty good. I've actually seen a little bit of glaze of him recently, which is funny because I've seen people be like, I never run into this character. Then I see the next person's like, holy shit, he's fucking amazing, the Omen Killer, wow, I'm so happy. And it's like, wow. I know the dichotomy between the two is fucking crazy to me. But this character, I've been valuing him since his initial Zenkai here. That double AoE green card team with Goku Bardock, with Ape Vegeta, and then you have Pikkon Gogeta. You have literally green card spawning, double AoE green, and Revival, Endurance, and Indestructible. It's like, what do you do? Like, genuinely, what do you do? It's not like that damage is even bad on that team, because you have such easy Zenkai buffs with OG3 Ku, Namek Goku, EX13 bench, easy HP bench, with it being, I guess you could just do like an EX Raz or Shallot bench, right? So you have no real issues with his team build here being a full Saiyan roster of what I just mentioned, a basically green-red setup there, which again, you're free to do. You have no issue running these setups because people are so scared of Omen, they're just not running purples at all. It's not like you need to have Omen to have no purples in the match, it's just people are so scared of them. And even more so, I don't think Ape Vegeta and Bardock Goku are really scared of purples on their own. Like, Jiren could be annoying, but like, it's not that scary. Cell could be a pest, but like, is he that scary? I don't think so. Again, you have so much safety on the team, Revival, Endurance, and the situation of Indestructible. Like, you really can't just go wrong with Ape Vegeta on a team of Saiyans being a very solid setup. If people don't own Pikkon Gogeta, it gets a little harder to run, but I guess you can kind of do something at that point. Leader Ape Vegeta on Beast Gohan kind of works out, I guess. It's a little worse, obviously, but like, it works out. Still same situation there. But yeah, no, Ape Vegeta, good value, very good against Omen. Omen still being a top 3 character for me here, just to point out. So it makes sense he would go up. These blues go down, and this red can thrive a little bit more. Obviously, he's not, countering every unit. He's just stopping one unit, really, in Omen, but he's very good against meta units. He's doing more to blue units, so he has Goku Bardock, Janemba, LS17, there's more of them. Sun Family, Beast, Goku Bardock, Omen, Evo Kaioken, yada yada yada, right? So this unit is definitely being an anti-meta unit and being very good at it, and then being run alongside a very top 3 unit in Goku Bardock here. It's just kind of gonna fit that Ape Vegeta is a very solid Zenkai, and just a little spoiler, he is the current not Celebration Zenkai, the highest one on this list, which implies G4 will be higher, but Jiren will not be here, making a little sneak up. No, Jiren does not make this list for me, which again, I will explain a little bit more after. I kind of explained that at 10, but like, I'll explain a little bit more as we go through here, proceeding at the end of the list. But number 7, I actually was a little bit contemplating this one. This one was definitely one I was like, what do we do? And it took me a good minute, so let me actually take a sip of coffee. I already had the opinion stated and thought, but like, just to chill on my speaking here. I do have at number 7 of Evo Kaioken. Now, let me say 6 and 7 are close. 6 will be another green unit here, so you can guess who it is while we talk about Evo Kaioken. 6 and 7 are close. I do just feel they've made Reps such a lackluster team. They've heard it a lot. Now, I think it is a situation you could argue it's like people are a little bit too scared of Omen right now, right? Like, yes, it is true if Omen does face a purple, yeah, you're going to be in trouble, you're going to deal with a lot of bullshit, and, well, your purple is just frame 1 dead, essentially, if you don't, like, protect them, especially if you don't have a red unit, which Reps doesn't, but even more so than that, Reps, what they've done is make it not durable. You know, prior to Omen, once upon a time, I had Jiren, what, top 4 or something like that? I had him 4 or 5, something up there, because what I thought, and what was true at that point, was that, hey, there's no real, stoppage to this guy. Yes, you can run into the game. I was like, that's fine. Gamers aren't going to murder you frame 1. It's like Jiren's going to just outright die. And Android wasn't really, like, the strongest. It was strong, but, like, wasn't the strongest thing in the world. And that was prior to Omen. And Jiren was just a very good soaker. And what they made with Jiren is a situation where the best defensive unit probably in the game right now overall, obviously he's not meta, but, like, he's the best defensive unit in the game right now. Well, full meta. He's good enough to run. It's just, not the perfect meta here, which would be in the top 10. But they made it where the defense part of Reps just died down. So Evo Kaioken gets hurt, LS17 gets hurt, and then I guess, yeah, you can run Omen, Evo Kaioken, LS17. Sure, but you still really want to still run Jiren, and then you're in the situation where it's like so unsafe to run Jiren, because while Omen, again, is just one character you have to be worried about, Omen is a very frequent character. For God's sakes, it's a UI Omen Goku. People summon, people are going to use him, and he's going to be in a lot of matchups. I see him on random teams that make no sense for him, and, he still cooks. It's just how the character is. He's basically just a, 5x times Janemba. I don't know what to say. He ramps up the same way, and he just 5x the fucking abilities. So, with the character being so, I guess, hard-pressed in Jiren, Evo Kaioken have to go down again. They have just hurt Reps in a, not, irreparable situation, but it's just like, what do you do if you are the Reps team and you have no defensive unit? You look at, I guess defensive unit's the wrong word. No survivable unit, which that means is like revival, endurance, indestructible, right? Look at Reps, you don't have that anywhere. I guess you could leader slot Pycon or run Rev UI, but then your team's just much more inferior because you're not really running the ideal thing where it's like, okay, here's pure Reps, here's LS17 with his full defensive pure equips, as he has 3 rep characters on the team, etc., and it just makes the team go down, and that, by nature, has to lower Evo Kaioken in their own right. I still think they're a very good individual unit. If Omen was any other color, right now, I'd probably say Evo Kaioken was number 4, like, somewhere around that at least, right? But no, Omen was yellow. I don't really know. I guess, like, yes, for Reps, it did make sense, but are you running into Omen on Reps? No, you're running into Sun Family, Saiyans, whatever the fuck you're running into. And, it's like, if you use another color, not purple, but like blue, red, green. I guess green didn't have to exist, but blue, we didn't get a blue premium unit, right? We got green, we got red. I guess Goku's half, but like, they don't fucking count the half units. But blue would have made sense, right? That's a color we definitely could have used. Or even, I guess, purple could have been fine. I mean, if you kind of leader slot beast, I guess, on Reps, you could do like purple, red. I don't know. We're not in a situation though. And what they did though in this situation is make Jiren have lower value. So again, Evo Kaioken just has to go down. This is definitely the faster fall offs we've seen of a big time unit, of a festival unit, and it's tough. I wish this unit was thriving more. It's not like they're bad in of their own right, but it's just that their situation for their team, there's nothing going on. You can't leader them on Android, just doesn't work out. That team's not even good enough. Reps is better, but like Reps is barely better, and Reps is one of the worst best teams that exists. Like it's just a tough spot for Reps right now. And I guess this was on purpose, but why do that on purpose? I don't know. Number 6 will be, as I said, a green unit here, and it is G4. Now, G4, I think, has very high value because, again, you're running into this red-green with Piccolo. You're running into Pycon a bunch. You're running into, let's say Rev UI a decent amount. I can cope at least a decent amount of Rev UI there. And anything else, anything G4 is, like, perfect against? Not really anything perfect, but I do think G4 just hits very hard anyways. But, yeah. G4, obviously, he is a very good unit on a mono green setup, and you're thinking, wow, well, I've mentioned 6 times that purples don't exist, so mono green probably works. Yes, it does work. Did a video on that yesterday. Feels like one of the best teams in the game just because how free these greens are. You know, one day we will get a purple that overturns all of this that we're being gassed up on these green units. You will see a lot of green units in the top tier positionings here. And, you know, that makes sense because of how these purples do not exist. And, yeah, G4, though, his damage is very high. I do think his tanking has taken a back step, which I don't mind. Like, you can give it, you look at USV. His thing was defense type, right? What did USV do in any defensive nature at all? I mean, anywhere. What does G4 do in any defensive nature pre-Zenkai? I guess the big cut, which they switched it from 30-50 to 50-30 consistently. That's really it. I guess defensive neutral could be argued, but even then, he doesn't, like, strike you as a defense type unit. This unit, on his initial droppage, was peak damage on entry. You enter, peak damage. So it's like, I don't care that he's not defending as well, really, because he's doing so much offense with his double ultimates, with the situation that he's now Zenkai buffing Pikkon, so it's easier to Zenkai buff them. You can double Zenkai buff Pikkon on a Saiyan roster of mono green very easily with G4 and OG3 Ku. That also gives a Zenkai buff to Goku Bardock because of OG3 Ku being a Zenkai buffer right there. So it's like you have a very easy situation for just a raw out team build again of mono green here. Runs on fusions again. I mentioned that UVB value does go up because of a situation of green, green, red, and G4 is part of that green, green, red, obviously there. You can fit them on, I guess you could lead her on Sun Family. If you do like Beast, Goku Bardock, and then G4, I mean, sure, why not? I haven't really tried it, but like, I'm sure that works out very well. You could run G4, 8 Vegeta, Goku Bardock. You could run, again, G4, Pikkon, Gogeta, then 8 Vegeta. You could run, you know, Pikkon, G4, Beast Gohan. Like, you have a lot of teams this guy can run on as kind of just that, like, slap-on, very good third option. He's a green, he's free. Why not use him? Big ult damage, big damage overall. Blue card, very solid stuff as well. Those projectile blue cards, we do not have many of them. I'm actually looking here. We have what? Pikkon, Gogeta, G4. Yeah, we don't have many projectile blue cards at all, huh? Yeah, that's in top 10 so far. I mean, that's really it. Spoiler, Pikkon Gogeta will be top 10, obviously. But yeah, this unit's value, it is very high. This is definitely the best Zenkai of 2024, which, you know, thank God. It can't really not be the case. But an interesting Zenkai nonetheless to wrap up the festival. And one that probably will age one of, like, the better ones. I'm looking at these units here, like Bardock, already not even being used. Jiren, you know, what happened to him with the fall off we kind of created with Omen. And then 8 Vegeta. Definitely good 8 Vegeta, but I think G4 is like here and 8 Vegeta is like here, especially because just like the gaps in equipment, and then it kind of goes higher and higher and higher. But like on base kit, they're not far off. It's just, you know, G4 just will thrive more as he is such an easy neutral character, and well, that gives him a lot more value. Now, number 4 and 5. Let me actually take a sip of coffee because all right, 4 and 5 though. Let's see here. I do have it being 2 Fusion Boys, interestingly enough. I have it UVB as number 4 and Gogeta as number 5. Now, this was very hard to do as well. Once you get higher up, it actually is supposed to get easier, but I actually found it to be quite a bit more difficult here because I think the gap between 3, 2, and 1, which you could probably guess who 3, 2, and 1 is, right? You're looking at the list. You could see who's new. Like, you can figure this out. But the gap between 3, 2, 1 and 4, 5, and, you know, everything below that, I do think has a substantial value to what this list has become. But to explain real quickly, I actually don't think Pikkon Gogeta went up in value. Matter of fact, it might have actually gone down one spot, because while G4 does run with Pikkon Gogeta, G4 is a little bit of a double-edged sword. I'm not saying fully, but to an extent. And hear me out on this. I've felt this since I saw his kit, and it's like, wow, he's going to be very good, and he's going to be run, he's going to be out, he's going to be top 10. Like, he felt top 10 on reading, and, like, you know, lo and behold, he's top 10 for me here, for most people as well. But, G4, he has anti-revival, so that hurts if you're a revival unit, right? You know, Piccolo is getting hurt by that, Rev UI, and, you know, Pikkon Gogeta. So if you're running into Pikkon Gogeta, you're using G4. For one, you're free the entire match, so G4 just has more value. And then from there, if you have G4 pop Pikkon Gogeta, well then you're actually just getting an easier double rush, more damage inflicted. So Pikkon Gogeta existing, while it's clearly good that they have G4 alongside them, that's not a like debate, it's also hurting them because of them being a revival unit, because G4 can get his double rush fast because he popped the revival. Like, I've done this where it's like Piccolo or Pikkon popped the revival. Here's my first rush within the first 15 counts, so I killed Pikkon so fast. All right, caught them up, PVs, whatever the fuck bullshit happened. G4 has more value because of these revivals existing in the current meta. While they're not going to be all top 10, the one that is clearly helping G4, and actually does hurt Pikkon Gogeta. Again, not to a big extent. It's not like they're falling down because of it, fucking 15 places. No, not like Janemba. Yeah, I mean, this motherfucker was number 4 for me last time. Now he's number 9. But they do get hurt by that nature, so I did put them a little bit behind UVB here because of that. And then UVB, and that's really the only reason they went down, by the way. There's, like, nothing else to say about them. Like, most people would have this unit in a higher tier positioning like this, and the only reason they would go down is because G4 is anti-revival and they're revival. Like, that's just the simple math of it. But UVB, again, I wish his usage was higher so I could really validate this from my own experience. I've seen him a little bit, but, like, not as much. But this setup right here, 4, 5, 6, is a very good trio. You can run, I mean, if you want to run double fucking reds, who's stopping you? Really, just run fucking, Beast Gohan or 8 Vegeta, UVB, and then G4 is fucking slap one of them on leader slot, have a fucking great old time. But, nonetheless, on that, UVB, he has another protector here in G4. Obviously, G4 being a situation of a green unit, you don't really need the protection, but if you did, you're free to run greens anyways, so he gets another good ally on a Fusion roster. Fusions has been missing a competent full-on third for a hot minute. UGB, yes, he's very good, but, like, competent in this current meta would be a non-purple, right? Literally anything non-purple, you'd be ideal. I guess blue also is not ideal, but, like, anything not blue or purple, and G4 is a not blue or purple, so UVB gains value. The debuffing he does, very easy to do. What Omen does do in his kit is cancel attribute upgrades that a unit is getting. Well, UVB is doing a situation of debuffing the enemy. Clearly that's not, affecting UVB when Omen does pop his green card, so that's actually a nice little, push on there. But yeah, UVB, his value just goes up because he has another teammate here on G4. G4 being very good against these revivals makes him have value, and then Super Gogeta and UVB just together as a pairing is just obviously a good duo, which would have them be in their positioning here. I'm trying to think if there's another reason for UVB. I mean, I guess you could say his, because 8 Vegeta's here, his rush thing, he could rush out 8 Vegeta, right? That's the thing that exists. But I would say his burst damage early game that he can do, and it kind of gives a G4 easier opportunity to snipe out, right? Because G4 could definitely snipe out in his ultimate or a blue card type of thing there. So UVB's early game damage, and again, no one's really stopping him. Besides, unironically, Omen auto dodging, like no one's stopping UVB from like just going early game for first, whatever his extra card draw speed is, 20, 30 counts there. He just has a very proper situation right now. Now, to mention the big gap here, again, you can probably figure out who's top 3, you just don't know the order yet. The big gap means that these units individually and how they flow on teams right now, I think are so far ahead of like UVB, G4, Super Gogeta. While they're going to run alongside these units, I think these are the units that are just full out, just doing everything on their team. If you have any of these 3, you're running into one of them on a team, they're going to be the ones that's doing the most. Obviously, in some off circumstances, maybe Evo Kaioken could do the most on their team, or G4 could do the most on his team, but like most setups, these 3 are doing the most, and I just think they're far ahead in their own league, and that's why I have the big gap there, because there is a genuine gap with these units because of how well they do on their own individual right. And again, they're on the same teams as these characters, but their own goodness is like too good. To get into it though, the big gap here, number 3. Well, number 3 here is actually going to be UI Omen Goku. Now, I actually do think I had him 2, right? Number 1 definitely is going to be a character that is most free in the match right now, most matchups. But UI Omen Goku, the dilemma. There's a dilemma with characters, right? It's just color. I mean, that's just gonna kind of be the thing that goes on here in this top threshold. These units are so good on their own right. The really only thing that factors into this that's like uncontrollable by what they are as a unit is the color that the unit is. And well, you look at this yellow unit, here's UVB, here's 8 Vegeta, here's do I have another red? Gohan, yeah, obviously forgot about him. Here's Gohan. So it's like you got 3 reds, you got a yellow here, and unfortunately, you just have to point this out because it is obviously true. Omen's not protected. I mean, you have Bardock Goku, but like that's a tag unit. They're not really tanky. They're not really soaking hits. Like the Indestructible is some defense, but like they're not soaking. There's no real, Jiren type unit to soak for him, Mr. Omen. And then LF17, we've gone over this a million times. He does not tank hits. He has some utility, but he's not tanking hits. So Omen is unprotected in his most vulnerable state of this disadvantage, and he's mostly disadvantaged. He literally only goes neutral offensively. On ultimate, right? When he's an ally down, he gets 3 counts of neutral. Like, that's all he gets. So This character does struggle to a pretty high extent on that category of his neutrality in an offensive manner. He does get some defense neutral, but it's not too much anyways to even, like, point out. And a big factor, and that's really the only thing. Omen individually is obviously a very good unit. His auto dodging, his stopping combos, which stops every combo in the game basically if you're doing any dash forward attack. The usage of that is just too high. Obviously, he is a very good unit. If you're in the top 3, you are individually just far superior to the units below you. So Omen here is in the top 3. He is obviously far superior to everything below that in the entire game. Number 2 will be Mr. Gohan. I actually do see, yes, Goku Bardock as number 1, which I'll touch on. Then I'll also touch on the few units that didn't even make the entire list here. But Beast Gohan, the reason I did put him here instead of number 1, because I did lower him, right? Goku Bardock is number 1. I had Beast number 2. Omen swapped to Goku Bardock from the previous list. The reason I have the situation here of Beast is not inherently because anything that's wrong with him or his disadvantage, because again, I could point that out like I did for Omen, but it's LS17, Janemba, and Goku Bardock. Goku Bardock being the scariest one of the 3. There's not much going on that's like, whoa, this is too spooky for Beast Gohan, because he has Pikkon, he has Piccolo, he has a million different greens that can run alongside him and protect them. All this bullshit. But I do feel that Gohan is just a tad bit slow. I mean, he is an ultimate, right? So it's like Goku Bardock are very easy to get their ramp up going. They really only require like 2-3 cards to get their cover and all, right? So you have their ramp up going. They keep tagging out. Once they're in a situation of Bardock, they're always going to be type neutral, if not advantage at some point. And if you're with Goku, I mean, there's not every setting where you're going to be into a matchup against the green. There is going to be a lot of matchups where there is a red unit alongside that green. So Goku could have such a high advantage. And Gohan's just a little bit of slowness in his pre-transformation. Again, it's not even actual, genuine bad slowness. It's just balanced slowness. But it's worse than Goku Bardock's. Is a dilemma that you can, call a concern for issue for, I guess, right? Again, it's nothing that's like, whoa, he's shit because of that. No, it's just he's slower than Goku Bardock, and Goku Bardock have easier access to Zenka buffs that flow on the Z abilities. Very dynamic Goku, very good Z ability compared to Great Saiyaman 1 and 2, or OG3Q. Fits more of this, like, here's Pikkon Gogeta, Goku Bardock. Okay, that's 2 units getting Zenka buff by OG3 who getting double defense, and then here's Great Saiyaman 1 and 2 Zenka buffing, what are you going to do, Pan and Beast? You don't even need Pan. I mean, literally, Omen's green card cancels all of Pan's, upgrades that she gives, and Omen spawns 93 green cards a match, so it's like, what's the point? There'd be no point to it. So I do feel like Gohan's team ability is just a little bit more lackluster, and then again, his own individuality is just a tad bit slow. His neutral obviously is very consistent in his transformation state. You could also argue his neutral does not exist in pre-transformation, obviously, but yeah, no, he's definitely a very good unit. Again, if you're top 3, you're very good. It's just there is some flaws with units that do exist more than others. I think Omen's color is his biggest flaw, and then Gohan's ultimate form on top of his, I guess, bench characters for his team is the biggest flaws, which if that's the biggest flaw for your units, just their bench, it's like, it's a pretty high fucking standard, right? But number 1, as I did mention prior, is going to be Goku Bardock. As I do have them even more buffed with G4 coming out, you run a situation where Indestructible actually is probably an arguable best mechanic in this, I guess, stalling living meta that we're in. Revival does get screwed over by G4, G4 being so high up. I do value Revival of anti-Revival rather very highly because of G4 existing. So yeah, Indestructible becomes a much more safe mechanic because you're not losing or gaining anything more than you would on Revival or Endurance. Honestly, you're more safe with Indestructible than Revival at this rate because you get double rush very quickly, you get extra damage to G4, he can kill you faster later on in the match. Like, there's situations where G4 actually does impact the number 1 unit for me because of Indestructible not helping the ally or the enemy at all, while, Revival does help the enemy if they are popping your Revival unit, and etc. If you are using that G4, it's helping yourself if you're popping that Revival. But Indestructible does gain more value. You have it where Mono Green's very good set up. Goku Bardock can fit on Sun Family. 6-7 different fucking iterations of Saiyan Team, movies, they can fit anywhere. This unit does it all. On the output setting, I would say they took a little bit of time on Goku, but Goku is quite literally named as the defense portion of the unit. And both their colors are very good right now. You have blue, good against Beast, good against UVB, good against Vegeta. Then you have green, good against Janemba and LF17, and obviously another Goku Bardock there, which you would run into very often. The safetiness of, like, let's say, Pikkon, Goku Bardock, and 8 Vegeta, or Pikkon, Goku Bardock and Beast, or, you know, Omen, Goku Bardock Pikkon, I've seen a lot. 8 Vegeta, Goku Bardock, and, you know, G4. Like, there's a lot of teams that they can run on where they're always going to be run because they have such easy sync buffs with Namek Goku, OG3 Ku, Blue Pan could work as well. Sure, why not? And I do think this unit is definitely the safest with their mechanics and their individuality, and team-based setting just has so much more options than, I would say, not too much more than Beast, but so much more than Omen. Omen definitely is a little bit more limited because he's a lot more blast-based than strike-based. Gohan can flow on a blast-based setting easily, but Goku Bardock is just so good as a strike-based unit, and how good strike units are, there's a lot of good strike units, they flow on just more teams, right? But yeah, that's my top 10. Just touch on the units that didn't make it. Again, Jiren, if you want to argue, could make number 10. Sure, let's say that. Orange Piccolo, same thing. Rev UI, same thing. I think the most contendable is Orange Piccolo there, at least from usages here. Maybe it'll be Jiren once I, finish recording this video after this. But for now, I do think Orange Piccolo will be the contender for number 10 with LS17. You could have any of those 4 characters there. I would not dispute it or argue it. I would just say, okay, I can agree with that. But yeah, the reason I don't have them is just because you don't run as these units enough. Jiren, he just gets screwed over again by Omen. I went over this detail. Piccolo, I guess Piccolo's frequent enough, but he just feels like a subpar Pikkon to me. And then Rev UI is in a becoming situation of you don't even really need him because you have the other 2, but he's still good on his own right now. Like, again, Green Revival unit just has value. But on top of G4 just kind of hurts these Revival units, they also don't make it for me as well as that because I went over why these Revival units get a little bit hurt by G4. But that is my top 10 as of prior to the GT buff style, probably coming next week with the next LF, most likely coming out in just a few days here, with it being Goku Bardock number 1, Beast Gohan number 2, Omen number 3. There's a big gap between 3 to the rest of the list, being number 4 of UVB, number 5 is Pikkon Gogeta, G4 number 6, Evil Kaioken number 7, 8 Vegeta number 8, Janemba number 9, and LS17. I don't know why I said L17. Well, I guess, yeah, could be another 17. LS17, number 10, with Orange Piccolo, probably Jiren, and then Rev UI being those very good units, but don't make the cut. What would I think of my top 10 list prior to these big GT buffs? The first top 10 of January 2024, technically. And I'll see you guys in the next one.